I went about it a very strange way because I never set my heart. I quite liked. I mean, I liked acting at school. I was enchanting as the White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. I think I still have the costume. I slip into it sometimes. I did some acting when I was at university as a sort of, in the drama society there. But it was never going to be, I never thought it would be my career. And then, oddly enough, I made a film, an amateur film at Oxford when I was there. Some guy got together a little bit of money with the help of John Schlesinger, whose portrait is just outside this room, and we shot that film. And really, it was pretty pretentious. But agents came up to me right here at BAFTA in summer of 1982 when it had a screening and said, do you want to be an actor? And I said, no, thank you very much. And then I went home and I was thinking, because I was due to go off and do another degree somewhere else, and I suddenly thought, actually, I need money. So I rang up the agents. I said, all right, yeah, I'll be an actor for a year. And I was so bad, frankly, that I thought I'd better do another job, another acting job to prove I'm not as bad as I was in the first one. And that process has now gone on for 36 years. What do I look for in a part? Well, I've been slightly different in my approach than some other actors, some other of my contemporaries, in that I think they, perhaps rightly, have always just gone for what's the most interesting part. And I have always gone for, is this an entertaining piece of work? Will anyone actually want to see this? And there are slightly different ways of going about things. And it's just that I can't see the point of acting unless it's to entertain people. And some people can see the point of it. You get an inkling when you read the script, and that's the basis on which you say yes or no. You think, will I ever get there? Have I got an idea where I might go to get this character? And you need that, you cling to that, and then you say yes and do your deal. And then you panic and think, can I really do it? And you have to, I find, just try and trust yourself. And it happens quite slowly. You just got to go about it methodically and keep reading the script and making notes, particularly about biography. I write quite long biographies of the character. They get longer and longer and longer. And at some point things start to happen. You suddenly find you've got the voice, or you've got the walk, or something they do with their hands, and the costume fitting is massively important, I find. With film, there's really no rehearsal. You're lucky if you get a moment round a table in the week before you start shooting, and suddenly you think, oh Christ, they're going to do that. Okay, well, that I see. Or worse, you start to, rehearse lightly. You start to say some lines as your character, and you see everyone looking nervous. And then the director says, yeah. I didn't see him having that voice. And then you have to rethink everything with a few days to go. I sound like such a terrible old lovey, but the dream is that you can trust them. If they're good, and if they're not in a panic. And with film, it's particularly important that people aren't in a panic. And quite often I am. And really the whole of film acting is about how to avoid panic and try and be as relaxed as you can. And if you're two relaxed actors together, both quite comfortable in the way you're playing a part, you can go into the scene with no preconceived idea and just see where it takes you, see what you do and react to that. And it's a lovely feeling because everything's then fresh. The way you do your lines completely fresh because it's based on what you just did. And the camera, I've learnt, tends to love anything that's fresh and which is invented in that moment. And that's very often the take that ends up in the film. Whereas when you're just repeating the way you'd practiced it for months in the bathroom mirror, that tends to be a bit dead. Well, directors, I don't know, I've worked with every kind of extreme. I've worked with incredibly hands-on, micromanaging directors like Roman Polanski. Oh my God, you've got to say it like this, you've got to pick up the coffee cup like this, I want you to hold it like that. And I've worked with, Stephen Frears now twice, who very rarely says anything. Well, seemed very good to me. Well, let's move on. I suppose you just have to adapt. I personally quite like a minimal approach, just a lot of praise. That was fabulous, darling. That's all I need. It's confidence, really. Well, they're all challenges. Every job's been I'm racked with anxiety. But I have to say, having signed up to do Florence Foster Jenkins, in the knowledge that I was going to be playing opposite Meryl Streep, you can't get much more frightening than that. And also there was a long delay between signing up and actually starting. I think it was like 12 months or something. That's a long time to be frightened. So that was extremely frightening. Day one of that. You know, the technology of filmmaking hasn't changed very much in 100 years, and it's still damn slow. So, you know, as you know, you film maybe 2 pages of script a day, a little bit more if it's television, but that's basically you're making 2 minutes of the film in a 12 or 14-hour day. So there's an incredible element of tedium, and this is what people always find when they visit the set. You know, they say, "Well, can I come and visit you on the set?" And you say, "Well, I don't think you're going to want to." They say, "Yeah, I want to," and they come and they practically faint with boredom because it's just, you know, it's 16 different angles and so many takes, all of the same thing. So you're fighting boredom and fear because in that 12-hour day you might be in close-up once or twice, and you know that's the key moment for you as an actor. And it's just awful when they say, "And now here we're going to set up for your close-up. Will be about an hour." And then you go back to your trailer and you just sit there sweating. And you come back on the set and it's all pointing at you. Everyone's pointing at you. And, you know, especially when I was making those big Hollywood films, all the money is pointing at you. And the pressure's unbearable. One thing I'm glad that I made some American films because it was interesting watching American actors. They're much less reverent in terms of the script than British actors. They, especially in comedies, they endlessly improvising, doing different things. They don't really care too much what was in the script. They don't care too much about where they've been told to stand. And I think that's very useful, and people should do more of that in British films, because it comes back to my thing about freshness, really. The camera loves fresh, anything new, anything that hasn't been pre-rehearsed.